All right, hey there. Okay, so I was an educated pharmacist, and now I make content, I guess. So I'm what you call an influencer. um, and my smiles weren't always as happy. I gotta say that. Like, things have luckily been going decently well now, but I just think I was watching this video by someone named Gooby and Dooby, and of course I'm not comparing myself to like a neurosurgeon, but and like the education that he had to go through and all the practice he had to go through. He's much more educated than I am, but I also think that I'm decently educated. You know, I went through 8 years of school, um, paid a lot of money for pharmacy school, and we know a lot about medicine. And that video did so well. I kind of want to share my own experience to see if this video would help anyone. Like, I think that video helped, I think, like 14 million people. So I work in my car now, so that's kind of cool. I work out of a coffee shop, and I nap in here pretty often. So usually I'll work for like 2 hours at a coffee shop. I'll get there at 8 o'clock, and then I'll hop in my car, take a nap, meditate a little bit, take care of my, you know, mental health, as some people would say nowadays. And then I film. I make content on how to help people like um, make money with Airbnbs, but it wasn't always this way. So before all of this, I'm 33 now. I started pharmacy school when I was 21 or 22, pretty much immediately after college. Um, and it was really good. So when I graduated, I took my oath, which is, there's something that people don't realize. There's a Hippocratic oath for doctors, but there's also a pharmacist oath too, which pretty much says, I don't remember it word for word, but you're there to help the public. You're there to help the welfare of the community, and you want to stay knowledgeable, and you want to keep on advancing your knowledge in pharmacy, and to stay up to date, do no harm, obviously, and help others as much as you can. And with that oath, what it was like when I started, it honestly did feel like that. It was great. I was super excited. I was always thinking about how to advance my knowledge in pharmacy. And going into retail, I felt like I was doing that. I would get these scripts in from doctors. I'd be on the computer. Obviously, it looks like I'm not doing anything. Everyone always makes that comment. Oh, this is a really easy job. You know, you stand behind a computer, and we don't really know what pharmacists do. At least that's what um, everyone told me. Like after I graduated, oh, it's such a great job. You just stand there all day at the computer, and you get paid $60 plus an hour. Nowadays, it's much less, unfortunately. But yeah, what I was actually doing, what pharmacists actually do, besides just like counting pills, which people always like, some pharmacists always like, no, we do way more than that, and that's definitely true. But it is a part of the job. I do count a lot of pills, especially when I worked alone, or if I didn't have enough help. If I wasn't counting pills, no one would get them. So um, you do what you need to. But originally, the plan is mainly like what school teaches you and what you learn throughout your pharmacy career. Like the first like 8 years I was in pharmacy. Well, I used to work as a clerk and an intern, and then a pharmacy intern. So we're able to practice even when we're in school. Is that pharmacists verify and they protect patients from taking the wrong medications, because as much as like we love to think our other healthcare professionals are doing a great job, which they are, they're still human. They make mistakes also. And if you've ever consistently had to get prescriptions, you probably might have run into this issue where like the medicine that the doctor gave or the medicine that was prescribed was technically, it had minor issues. And if you didn't, that means that the whole team is doing their job. They're working. It's working like it's supposed to. So there's checks. So you have the prescriber who prescribes and sends scripts in, or they hand it to the patient to bring it in for pharmacists to actually check. And then the pharmacist will verify that, hey, this medicine's right. They're using it right. So they don't have, say, like a baby gets amoxicillin, and they have like ear infections, also known as otitis media. The dose is correct. What's the weight of the baby? Is it 90 milligrams per kilogram? And are we underdosing, or are we overdosing? Are the directions given correctly? Is it frequency? Because different antibiotics work at different concentration levels in the bloodstream. So there's some where you can dose once a day. There's some where you can dose 4 times a day, and some work better. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And it's like, what we're trained for actually in school is to make sure that our patients receive the correct medication and that it's being delivered safely. But as time moved on, it got very, very normal to me, and I'm not sure if this is just a personal experience, but I honestly felt a little underappreciated. I always had customers who loved me, and those were the best. Like, they're kind of like my superstars, and you guys know who you are if you're out there. Like, I knew your family, I knew the things you were taking, I knew what was going on at home. We caught up. We talked about sports. We talked about finance. I've always loved finance, so every time someone comes in and talks about personal finance, I'm all over it. So annuities, bonds, real estate, cool stuff. And I just think that the monotony of never growing, because I did have plans to go pretty high, and climb the corporate ladder in pharmacy. But I remember there was one time I was asking my boss's boss, man, so I kind of want to do what you do. How long it's going to take? He's like, oh, just keep on doing what you're doing as a pharmacy manager, and it might be 5 years you might get doing that. I don't know if those were the exact words, but I remember that's what I interpreted whatever he said to be. I was like, oh, okay, so I gotta go up one level, learn the ropes, and then apply, and then it's dependent on whether the next person leaves. And for me, that path was just so long. I had other aspirations too. I wanted to be a dad. I wanted to spend time with my kids. I want to be there for my kids. I want to make sure that whoever's teaching them was doing a good job, and I want to be a part of that. And it's not even just that too. I wanted to go on vacation once in a while. I wanted to experience new things in life. It wasn't just I want to sit inside of a box helping people all day, which sounds very selfish of me, and I feel kind of bad saying it out loud, to be honest. Who am I to say I deserve some time alone, and or time to vacation when there's people out there suffering, but that's just how I felt. And again, I still feel really bad saying this out loud, but I wanted to have a life outside my work. I wanted to travel to Japan, which I still haven't been to yet. I'm hoping to get that done eventually. I want to go see other places and see how other people live. I want to try new businesses. I want to see if I can make it out there, if I can make this Airbnb business that I'm pursuing, and I personally think is doing really well, which is why, again, everyone's like, oh, you look so happy for someone who works out of a car. And yeah. So after, again, maybe 5 years or so, I think that's when it really started hitting, hey man, I don't know if I can do this. And luckily within the first year and a half, I did actually realize I don't think I could do this in the long run, which was basically go into a box every day, have very similar problems with no aspirations to grow or get better. Because for me, this was pretty much it. It was I'm gonna probably stay a manager at the best, or I'll become a staff pharmacist, and then for the next 35 years I'll collect a decent income, and I'll have a respectable wage, and I have a respected profession. But for me, that's just not what I wanted, and I would honestly give up that $170,000 salary to be able to do what I want, which is kind of what I'm doing now. And it's awesome for me, but everyone tells me it's scary, and it still is scary. I still remember being used to getting these $3,000 checks every 2 weeks, because everyone's like, oh, $3,000, how does that equate to $170,000 every single year? Well, everyone always forgets about all the other expenses, your taxes and Social Security, insurance, and then of course we want to not pay as much taxes, so we invest in our 401k. And say you have student debt too, and it's $2,000 per month, you really don't have much left after that too. So yeah, I became a pharmacist, and then I decided not to do it as much anymore. Around, I say, a year ago, like I was part time, and it's nothing against my coworkers and their decisions. I love my coworkers so much, and if there were one thing that were keeping me in this field, is honestly the great people I work with. Like healthcare workers are some of the most giving people you'll ever meet, and they're kind, and they think of literally nothing but helping other people, is what I've noticed. But the problem that I realize is, as you keep on giving and giving and giving, which is why most of us got into this field, is we give away what we don't no longer have. So imagine you're having trouble at home, you need money, your kids need you, your wife needs you, and your work keeps on asking you to give another 8 hours, because we're always needed. It's the same thing with your bank account. Imagine you're going negative in the bank account, and someone's just asking you for money, and you're giving it away because you want to be nice. There's a limit to how much anyone can give. But overall, like almost all healthcare workers that I know, if they were abundant, they're really wealthy, they had all the time in the world, they would give as much as they can, which is why I think maybe some people need to hear this. But we don't go in this for the money. Like, you go into pharmacy because you honestly just want to help people. You go into healthcare or being a doctor because you honestly just want to help people. But I personally couldn't do it anymore, which is why I reduced my hours a lot significantly, and I still go into the pharmacy. I didn't quit. Everyone's like, oh, it's not an all or nothing thing. But the moment where you can kind of get your sanity back and you start building up your time reserves, your money reserves, is a point where you're better to help people. Like, even when I go in now, I honestly feel like I'm much more energized for my patients, and then for my coworkers too. So if they ever ask me, hey Jeff, I need some advice, like for finances, like how do I step back and live my life a little bit better, I have some answers. Of course, I don't know everything, and everyone's situation is different. But at least I have some sort of knowledge of how to save more than I invest, and to create a plan that actually works in an appropriate time. Because here's one thing people don't realize: that you can invest all you want in stocks. There's an average 12% return, but if I'm saving $50,000 every single year as a doctor of pharmacy, which is pretty hard to do still, like you can ask your pharmacist if you know any healthcare friends. It's pretty hard still to save $50,000, even with a high income, because there's we got to keep up with the Joneses. It's just something we do. I don't know why. If you've ever played the game Cash Flow, it's equally as hard to step away from work or get out of the rat race, even with a higher income, because we just have larger expenses. 50,000 at 12%, and if you do that for 15 years, you still only have $750,000, which is a lot. That's a lot. And obviously it compounds at the 12%. But it's going to take you 15 years. And if you're struggling right now and your mental health is bad, you can't wait 15 years. It just doesn't work like that. I can't imagine too many people operating it at the burnout stage for that long. And if they do, I think they're going to have a lot of mental issues and anxiety, and they're going to bring it home. And life is just worse that way. I mean, we're getting older now. You have your parents to take care of. You have your family, your potential family to take care of. You don't want to bring that stuff home, in my opinion. And yeah, that's why I wish I had more to say about this, to be honest. Like, something to help. But yeah, that's pretty much why I'm alone in my car making this video, that sharing my experience from going from pharmacy to becoming a social media influencer that works out of my car. And if you guys are looking for some solutions, I wish I had something good for you, but all I can say is find a good group, a good circle, someone who can support you. people who can support you, people who agree, maybe who can you can complain with, because sometimes you just need to complain. Take care of your mental health. Keep on working if that's the only option, but you have to make a plan and you have to take action on that plan. So for me, it happens to be Airbnbs. And if that's something I can help with, I'd love to help.